Hi everyone, Skip here, and here we are for giveaway January, and I've got an uber special guest this week, or today I should say, not this week. And this is somebody who many of you will know her from being on TV. Many of you will know her from setting up an amazing company, and some of you will know her from being a businesswoman from the past. But now a lot of you will know her for really serving this planet with a completely different mindset to how we saw her when she was on TV, when she was on Dragon's Den. And the shift that I've personally seen in this amazing woman, who is no doubt an angel walking this planet, is phenomenal. Because to go from one world to another and to come out of it not just with a smile on one's face, but to be able to put that smile on so many other people's faces, you have to be plugged into stuff that is above the realm of thoughts and emotions. Now, who am I talking about? I'm talking about the wonderful Rachel Elnaugh. Rachel, welcome.
Thanks, Skip. That was a great intro.
Awesome. So what I'd like you to explain to the people listening is, first of all, the contrast between how life was when you was really locked into this mindset of being a businesswoman. And I know that you're like me, you go through things without judgment, and it's all experience of life to really help us evolve and expand. And so we can give life more, so we feel more alive as we take each breath. So what's the contrast between the business world, and I know you're still in the business world, but the message that you're now sharing with people?
Wow, that's a big question, Skip. I mean, if I think back to when I first started in business, actually it was a very similar vibration, because I was just doing business through absolute joy, passion, loving what I did. I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it because I loved, my first business was Red Letter Days, which is all about amazing experiences and sending people up in hot air balloons and motor racing days and creating joy on the planet. And it was all from the heart, actually, when I look back. And then what actually happened, and I think it was probably my business downfall, was I suddenly switched into, because we were then making millions as a result of that, switched into this ego place of, wow, I'm going to float this, and I'm going to make millions, and I'm going to sell out. And actually everything kind of started to go a bit pear-shaped. And so it was really interesting. So it sort of took me on my own journey into the darkness. And I really get, looking back, that, I mean, I'm all about prosperity and wealth creation, but not in the old style. I think it's more of a kind of Lakshmi prosperity consciousness of creating prosperity for everyone we touch, you know. And I get that I had to be taken to the extreme light, the extreme kind of yang, and then into the yin. So I had to experience both extremes of prosperity, making millions and then losing millions. And so that was my kind of cosmic training. So I'm now in a place where my business is now called Source, and it's all about helping people to connect to Source. And so I'm kind of in that, I'm still in business, but just in a much more fifth dimensional way than before, you know.
And I mean, such an amazing journey. And I really believe that when we go from, like, whether it's the light to the darkness or the darkness to the light, and we go through those extremes, we really have the opportunity to learn so much in that process. And although you said that you noticed the shift happen when you went from being in your heart, and it's very easy to go to ego when we have successes and we have a lot of yes people around us, and people kind of put us,
TV, yeah,
all of that stuff. So what would be like some of the real golden nugget things that you've learned from that? Because there's no doubt that by us following our passion, by us following our intuition, you know, the things that come from within, you're going to get probably way more success than what you had before. So what do you do now that's going to keep you on the straight and narrow, so the same thing doesn't happen again?
Yeah, well, I mean, that whole business meltdown, which was 10 years ago now, back in 2005, over 10 years, well, going on, yes, about 10 years ago. I've been on a real journey of personal discovery and healing and enlightenment, shall we say. And I really get all of my sabotage patterns. And a lot of the work that I've done, particularly recently, is this idea that, you know, if you're going to channel source energy, that like infinite power of the universe, and I've been told this, you know, by some of my teachers, you've got to, it's like a river, you've got to have really strong banks to contain that energy. And the problem happens for a lot of people when, and certainly for me, is that suddenly when energy starts to flow, whether it's millions of pounds in a business or awards or TV fame, if your banks aren't really strong and you can't contain that energy, it's everything goes pear-shaped and it's a big mess, you know. So one of the things I've been really working on is strengthening my banks, so strengthening my container. And you said to me before the call, like, wow, Rachel, you look good. I mean, I've really had to clear up my act and you know, giving up booze, superfood eating. I've just started Kundalini yoga, and I've just committed to doing a training. So I'm actually going to become a Kundalini yoga teacher, because it's devotional yoga and it's so powerful.
It really is. I understand. We've got Guru Mukht, who's one of the founders of that. We've got her in Tuvi.
Wow, brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's and that's thanks to Carolyn Cowan. I mean, it's amazing how many teachers come to help you on your journey, and then all you have to really clear is your resistance to the teachings, because that's what comes up. Is like, you know, it's and I really got, and I just came back from Peru with Davina McHale last November, a couple of months ago, and where I went to work with the shamans and doing shamanic medicine, and we've discussed this before, and had such powerful teachings. And we went up into the sacred mountains, the most sacred mountain in the Andes, and the shaman just said, if you're frightened of mountains, you're frightened of flying. And I was frightened of my own power, and it's like I didn't want to step into that huge power. And I just think we are all being called into the next stage of evolution. We're all being called into our power, and it's quite frightening, you know, like, oh my God, here we go, like being catapulted into outer space. But that's where we're at collectively. I think 2016 is the shift.
I have no doubt about it. And to hear somebody who, a lot of people know you as this businesswoman, and I know that when I brought conversations around spirituality, around source energy, around life force energy, and getting things in flow to the corporate world, some people can look at you and go like, what is this guy on? But what I found, that my partners over in Asia and other people that we're doing big deals with now, these people are latched onto this stuff. They understand how you do get things flowing. And because we are these participants in this amazing universe, all we have to do is learn how to get in alignment with it. And what I love what you said a minute ago was, there's no blaming anybody else. There's no saying, well, the reason why it failed is because of this person or this person over here. It's about us taking 100% responsibility for everything that we're connected with, our own thoughts, our own emotions, what we bring to the relationships. Now, I don't want to take you back into the darkness, but I know that there's a lot of people out there at the moment that are only seeing the darkness at the moment. I've been there physically, where there was a time when physically I couldn't move, and I was told that I was never going to walk again. And I learned so much whilst being in that darkness. And the same with you, that what message would you have for somebody who might be in the darkness? Now, I know with you now, you have great wisdom when it comes to business. You have great wisdom when it comes to the mind, body, and spirit. So anybody who might be experiencing that block where they feel like, oh, the whole world's against me, or I just can't get it right in business, or everyone's trying to con me, or they're running this story which is just completely stopping them from evolving and achieving their dreams so they can manifest the life that they'd be really happy waking up to every day. What would a little bit of advice to these people in that situation be?
Okay, right. So this is really powerful. And my learning through doing shamanic medicine work particularly is the way to get to the light is through the darkness. And yet most of us are stuck in this duality where we're constantly going towards pleasure and we're totally trying to avoid pain. And I would say to people who are in the darkness, totally surrender to it. totally accept that the darkness is there to show you exactly what you need to heal, what you need to learn. Because when you totally embrace the darkness and you surrender to it, you trust and surrender, and you say, thank you for these teachings, thank you for this problem, thank you for this obnoxious person, as opposed to the, oh, get rid of obnoxious people from your life. You often see that on Facebook, and like, no, why is this obnoxious person here right in my face pushing my buttons? They're showing me exactly what I need to deal with in me. Because exactly as you say, we attract everything into our life. And when we take total responsibility, we couldn't have attracted that situation unless there was something in us that was attracting it. And I just know that when you do that inner work, when I've done that inner work, and I've really taken it on board of like, wow, how have I attracted this in? What do I need to shift? When you shift the stuff internally, the external transforms. Yet we're so busy trying to push and pull the external and trying to control our circumstances. And actually, it's an internal shift. And I've just had things, if I do the internal work, the externals just miraculously move, and my life rearranges itself beautifully. So it's very interesting. And I just think we've all been educated in this sort of education system which says, it's like us versus the world, and we've got to kind of work hard to get on, and we've got to try and change everything. But actually, the only person you really need to change is yourself. Yeah.
100%. And just to echo and kind of go on from what you're saying, I really believe it's us with the world. I really think that when we get in alignment with it and we become so grateful for...
But we are the world. That's the thing. We are it. We are source. And when we're in alignment, everything flows. When we're out of alignment, it goes to shit, basically.
And it is that simple. It's like, because what I've learned is we're never going to be able to control what goes on outside there. And it's not our job to do that. All we have to do is master ourselves. And when we really learn how to master ourselves, your manifesting powers become so much stronger, which means, and people might be listening to this, all great, but usually their minds go towards, well, I want to manifest money, or I want to manifest like the houses or the cars or the holidays. And there's nothing wrong with that stuff, providing you have the balance and the alignment. And what I've also learned is that because I had this ability where I could manifest things like that, but I didn't realize how the world was really set up. And as quick as I could manifest things like that, I could destroy things like that in the same heartbeat.
Yeah, same with me. We're mirrors of one another, Skip.
It's true. It really is true. And the second that the resistance is gone, that's when life says, there you go. And it's as beautiful as that. And I mean, I wasn't going to mention it on this call, as I said, but one of my biggest teachings was the guy that basically ripped me off $250,000. He was able to put that resistance within me. And I had, someone who close to me saying, Skip, who you feel are going to be your biggest enemies. And yet at the moment you feel that this guy's an enemy because he's stolen the money. He's, not just money from me, it was, money from other investors that I brought into the deal as well. And then he started to hack me and really say a lot of bad things about me online. The second I 100% forgive this guy, it was like something better came up almost immediately. But it had to be 100%. I mean, to the point now where I could see the guy walking down the street and I could embrace him like a brother. And that
it's forgiving. It's asking him to forgive you for manifesting him. I mean, that's the Ho'oponopono, isn't it? Actually, it's not about forgiving him. It's like, please forgive me, nasty person, for manifesting you, because you couldn't be in my life unless I created you. And that is so magical. And most people just can't get their head around that Ho'oponopono, which is so powerful.
Oh, it's so powerful. I mean, what's the, I'm just looking for the lines of it. It's, what is it? Is it, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you.
That was what my Asian partner said. Skip, read this every single day, every single hour, until it just resonates within you. And at the point where I got it, and we went through this process that we did a breakthrough master it, and I was able to let go of it, I feel so blessed. I mean, and this is going to sound crazy to some people watching this, but I feel so blessed that he actually decided to do what he did.
Yeah, it's a cosmic test, Skip. And this is the thing. As we do this work, the cosmos sends us these tests, and they will take our biggest button and push it and say, there you go. You think you're a spiritual person full of forgiveness, teaching it. Here you go. Here's your biggest nightmare. Let's see how you handle it. And you did brilliantly. So you passed the cosmic test, Skip.
And this call's not about me. So the reason why we're saying this is learn through our mistakes, learn through the experiences that we've gone through, so that you don't actually have to have experiences that are so up and down. You know, people like us, we're in the public and we get given the biggest tests, and if we fail it, we get ridiculed. Whereas when we're able to rise above it, then suddenly you get to really enjoy life. It's almost like enjoying life out of the mind, because it's a lot of people's minds at the moment that's what's destroying their life. And I know that you've been on your spiritual journey, have had many experiences where you've really got to connect to the essence of who we are, and it is our spirit. And I mean, you know, talking like in the corporate world, one of the things that I loved about Steve Jobs was I heard him say this saying, that he wanted to bring the spirit back into technology. And I really believe he did it. You know, with gadgets like this, he really was able to do something where people felt more with this stuff. They were able to have fun with it. They were able to communicate to people all around the world. And I think that's another lesson, is whatever you're doing, whether you're in business, whether it's a family, whether it's a relationship that you're in, how can you bring that spirit into it? How can you bring the good vibes into it? And with what you're doing now, I mean, you asked me to speak at one of your events in the last year, and what I loved about it was the fact that everybody was just in a good vibe that evening. You know, you brought these different speakers in. One of the guys come from over the States, and it was such a diverse personality of speakers, but every single one of them came from their heart, and something came out of them that went straight in and gave people a gift. So what was it that got you into doing Source now? Because it's such a big shift from Red Letter Day and Dragon's Den.
Well, actually, if I think back, it's a very similar business model to Red Letter Days. I mean, the Red Letter Days business was an experiences company where we just took all these amazing experiences and we put them under one umbrella. And we became a one-stop shop for amazing experiences. So, you know, health spa days and trips on the Orient Express and amazing kind of unusual experiences and going in a MiG fighter jet and all sorts of amazing things like that. And now Source is an umbrella for amazing people and transformational teachers and content to help people transform their lives. So actually, it's the next, if you want to look at it from a business point of view, there's a great thing called the experience economy, and which basically says things go from being commodities to products to services to experiences to transformation, and transformation is the most valuable one of the pyramid. And so I've just gone from experiences to transformation, and it's the same business model. So that Red Letter Days was the perfect first business training for me to get the foundation for this new business. But one of the really key things that I've learned from embarking on doing what I call metaphysical business, so doing business in the new era way, the fourth dimensional way, is you have to clear your own lessons first. You can't teach other people unless you sort it out yourself. And so, and as I embarked on this process and just got things going, and people said, you know, you just had to get it started, Rachel. Sometimes you just got to get stuff started and see where the river takes you. But what's happened is that it took me, and there's me wanting to transform the world. Well, no, actually, Rachel, the first person you better start working on is yourself, actually. And so I've been taken on this whole series of transformational experiences myself, almost like as my training to get me to a place where I'm so much more connected to Source than I was when I started. And I'm much more in a position to help other people on that journey. And I really get, it's all co-creative collaboration these days. I mean, this new era, it's all about people coming together and doing work together. It's no kind of teacher and pupil anymore. It's like we're all on this journey together. We've all got gifts to bring. So creating circles of people, creating tribes of people where everyone feeds in, like at your events where everyone's feeding the energy and it's a collective thing. And that's really beautiful to have that new dynamic, you know?
And what's the difference for you where now you've found this alignment, you found the balance, you found the connection? What's the difference in Rachel now to the difference when Rachel was doing, say, Dragon's Den, Red Letter Day? Because you've done the inner work now, and not you've done it. We always continue our inner work because there's always more levels that we can go to, and life's going to give us bigger challenges, so we get bigger teachings. So what's the difference that you personally feel?
Yeah, well, the biggest single difference is realizing now that I'm not the one in control. So I'm much more powerful when I'm really aligned and empty and allowing source to come through me through intuition and guidance. Whereas in my old days, I was trying to control everything. And I thought, I'm in charge of this business and I'm going to make it all happen. And I was the one trying to pull all the levers and make stuff happen, which kind of works to an extent, but it's really hard work. And actually, when you get to a place of alignment where you really empty out and you allow source energy to work through you, and then what starts to happen is ideas and inspiration magically come through and things come out of the ether. And then all you have to do is just say yes. Because old me would have been like, logically, is that person worth it or not? Is it worth me wasting my time with that person or not? Now, these days, someone says, what about this? And I go, okay. And so I find myself, up a mountain in Peru and, experiencing shamanic medicine and going and experiencing trauma healing and thinking, I don't need trauma healing. And I go and experience and oh my God, I had so much trauma that I didn't even realize that absolutely needed to be healed. So saying yes, trusting, surrendering, saying yes, showing up, are really important, I think, because we can really think that we control it all, but surrendering, trust and surrender are really the key.
It's huge. It's the difference from going from personal will, like you said, where you would drive everything. And it's good to have drive. We want drive. We want to be filled up with this energy so we can go and manifest and make things happen. But when it's that personal will where there's that resistance, which a lot of people get brainwashed into that way of being, you're living a life of resistance. Whereas when you surrender it and you connect to the divine will, to source, what you're talking about, you're able to meditate and you're able to let go of any resistance, any thoughts, any emotions. And you, like you said, you become this empty vessel. Universal law, source, life force energy, God, our creator, call it whatever one wants to call it. It fills you up with exactly what you need to go and manifest your dreams, providing you've opened yourself up to it. And it's hard to do that because you really have to surrender. You have to let go of the mind, and the mind doesn't want to. The mind wants to understand stuff.
And also the bad stuff, as you said earlier, it's not just saying yes to all the good stuff. It's saying yes to the difficult stuff, the hard stuff. When every part of you says, I want to get out of here. I don't want this. I want this to end. And it's just like staying with the commitment, staying with the program, staying in with the uncomfortableness of the stuff you need to heal and learn from, and going through the darkness to the light. And that is, and so many people, when it gets tough, they run. They do a runner.
I really get it. I mean, I'm not going to speak about something I've never spoken about publicly before. When I was over in the Amazon and I was working with shamans over there, things came up where I had an upbringing where when my mother left my father, Dad was like, as men, we don't cry. Men don't cry. And from the age of 11, that was the programming that I had come in. And no matter what things would happen in life, if my body wanted to cry, my brain would then block it.
Right.
And because I was pinning the meaning on it, that it was weak. It was what women do. Men don't do this stuff. And when I was out there, there was so much physical pain, because when you work with shamans, and as you know, things can happen in the most mysterious ways that you couldn't even imagine in normal life.
I know.
And what was coming up with me was this physical pain. But in that moment, I started to look at people, and I wanted to leave. And I said to the guys, you know what, you're all freaks. Get me out of this place. And luckily, where this place was, we had this little village built, or not even a village. It was really huts with a temple in the middle.
Yeah.
And no one knows where this place is. It's a 6-hour boat ride to there. So no one knows apart from the people who look after it. And they were like, Skip, you ain't going anywhere. And I didn't want to talk to them. And I was in physical pain for so long. And it was only when I got told, Skip, you need to cry and you release it. And I was like, cry? Now are you trying to make me weak? And everything that I was programmed with was going against what life was trying to teach me. And when I surrendered, when I did what you just so well described, where you just let go and you say, okay, I'm here. I'm going to trust it. I'll see it through. And I started to cry. I literally cried like a baby for about 6 hours straight.
Wow.
And it was like all of the crying from 11 till, I mean, I was 41 back then. In all of those like 30 years, it was like it all came out within the 6 hours.
Wow.
And the freedom I felt after that, it was like I'd never really looked at people before. I'd never really been able to connect with them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I find that is really helping me with my journey in life, but also it's helping us in the business world as well, because I really love connecting with people now, the essence of who people are. And if I can see that they've got some resistance and I'm in a position to just either be a friend or help them.
Yeah.
When they peel off their mask and they're left with the essence of who they are, they start to have the spirit that children have. They start to have that fun, loving vibe where they can get excited about the simplest things in life, and the energy that they have just starts to go through the roof. And suddenly they start to enjoy life a lot more. And
it takes a lot of energy to keep that lid on. It takes a lot of energy to maintain that facade. And, when you just really just allow it and you be vulnerable, it's very powerful. It's
really, really powerful, because I really believe then the relationships that you start to make, people start to get who you are. And those relationships, end up having a lot of depth. They have a lot of strength. They have so much more love, which glues those relationships together so much more. And it's like, me and my partners over in Asia, the things that we've gone through, every challenge we've gone through has only made us stronger. We're like family now. I mean, they just invited me out to the Himalayas, where we went to, some of the coolest places and these temples. And I never could have imagined this stuff last year. And that's what I love about life, is the more I think I know about life, the less I realize I know. And life starts to unravel, and experience after experience starts to happen because, as you said, we've done the work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my message to anybody watching this. Trust in yourself and always look within for the answers. You don't have to look for towards somebody else. If you blame somebody else, then you're blocking yourself finding the answer. Really have the strength to go within and to give yourself a break and find some stillness when you feel that there might be all this sort of torment and this turbulence that might be going on, because that's life giving you a lesson and it might be that you need to find the stillness. And what I found around meditation is it takes you into a new realm where no matter what's going on, you can always come back to, as you say, source and find the magic. And in that magic, you get to really see the magic in the simplest of things in life. I mean, it's crazy now. I mean, I'm looking out like outside my front window, and I've got these trees out the front, and I've had this house for 4 years in London now, and never before, like the last 2 years, did I ever look at those trees with any appreciation. And this is going to sound so weird to some people, I know, But every time I come through the front door and I see these trees, I don't know why, there's just this sense of appreciation that they're there breathing good oxygen around the house that I live in.
Yes. Yeah.
And I know it might sound ludicrous, but I want people to understand that anytime that we can go to appreciation, anytime that we can go to gratitude, we go up to a higher vibration just instantly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what are the sort of tips or golden nuggets would you give to, say, somebody who they might not be in the darkness? They might be with the impression that, you know what, my life is good. But one thing I know about life is that there's always another level. We can always go up to a new way of life where we just feel so blessed. So what could be advice for somebody who might just want to get to another level in life, and anything to do, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, any of them?
Well, I agree with what you said to an extent, Skip, about doing stuff on your own. But if I look back at all my big quantum leaps into where I made a big shift, it was usually through working with someone else or going on an experience. And so I do think there's a huge amount of value for seeing who shows up in your life, the teachers and the experiences and the invitations, because it's very easy. I mean, with the Peru trip, you may have seen this all on Facebook with D Sunshine, who I was with at the time. And I said to him, oh, come on, let's go to Peru. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. But as we got closer, all this resistance was coming up to the point where it's literally the 24 hours before he said, I'm not going. And it was kind of like, we got to go. And it was just the biggest transformational experience, but it was hard work. I mean, we had to face all our stuff, all our darkness, everything came up. So I would just really say that when you embark on this journey, to really be open to experiences and stepping out of your comfort zone, because it's so easy to stay small and safe and think, well, my life's okay, but actually you don't know what you don't know. So sometimes you have to step into that experience and plunge into this kind of, it might be something that you're frightened of or you're apprehensive about, but to really seek out those experiences that will take you to the next level. Because sometimes it's difficult to get there on your own. You need someone to help you.
100%. I mean, I echo that. You know, we are really mirrors of each other. And for me, I always look for like the next adventure or the next personal development teaching. And that can come from, you know, going to retreats, going to events, finding yourself a coach, finding yourself a mentor. Sometimes the teacher could be a child. Sometimes the teacher could be a stranger on the street. I mean, one of the things that I've adopted now is every person I come in contact with, I'm asking, right, what are they supposed to be teaching me?
Yeah.
Because then you learn and grow from every single experience, and life becomes one where we get to grow and expand through every single experience, and we don't have to become the victims. We can become the victors through every situation we go through, as you're a living, breathing example of this. So I know you've got some great things coming up. I know you're doing some awesome things. So please tell people what's coming up.
Well, one of the big teachings in Peru that came directly from source was that this year for me, 2016, should be all about evolution. And so I'm just launching a new program called 108 Days to Evolution. So the first program started in January, and so the next one will be in April. And I've also manifested an incredible new home in Bakewell, where I live in the Peak District, which is a beautiful place in the heart of England. And I'm going to be running kind of private retreats up here for people who want to step into evolution. So small groups of people where we do co-creative work, because I really get that co-creation is where it's at. So just small groups of people coming together and exploring our work, exploring our journey, and going into the darkness. I think that's really important, exploring the dark side and getting clarity and vision, and really getting that clear vision for where we want to, what our personal expansion looks like. What is the kind of solar plexus expansion? How could, you know, if we were to really shine to our fullest extent, how would our lives look like? That kind of thing. So that's my whole focus for for 2016, and obviously in parallel to that, the Source TV business is the platform to help other people into that expansion. Yeah.
Awesome. So if people want to find out about that, how do they, is there a website they can go to?
The best website is source.tv.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and so
nice
the retreats will be on there, and 108 Days to Evolution. There's loads of online programs and loads of content from amazing evolutionaries and thought leaders. So
brilliant stuff. Yeah. That is so cool. So when's the first event? Have you got a date for the first event yet, or is it still?
We're still setting the program, because I only move into this place on actually just at the new Chinese solar and lunar year on the 6th of February. So I'll be running them from March onwards, basically.
Fab. So look out for that, people. It's going to be amazing. And I really do encourage it. If you have the chance to go and spend some time with Rachel, do it, because she is on this evolutionary journey. And what she just said is so, I'm going to reiterate what you say, because sometimes people can be fed some really good stuff and it can just fly over their heads. When we feel like we're growing and we're expanding, we get into what I call flow. And then you're not even thinking about life. Life is just breathing through you. Yes. And that's where the juice of life is at. And I can just see, like, you're like, yes. Because this is when we get in flow. And the cool thing is, it's getting in flow with groups of people, because that's where the magic is born, where it's not just you being in flow, you being creative, you doing good things by yourself. It's finding, right, how can I connect with others? What have I got to bring to this? How can we get in flow as a group, as a unit, as a team, as a family? And then you start to pull the best out of others, and the energy that then gets created is, I don't even have a word to describe that. It's just magical.
Yeah. I mean, all of my programs now, all of my most powerful programs and on Source, are not just an online program, but we're bringing together a tribe of people. So it's really powerful when you get a whole tribe of people on the same transformational journey, whether that's in real time on a retreat or whether it's on an online program. The power of the tribe is the future, the bringing together tribes of people to do the work, because it's the work is then exponentially amplified, and that's really
love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I mean, that's why I do the events, because when we do like the live events like Supercharge Life, and we get hundreds of people there, it's like, if you saw your favorite football team score a goal and there was 10 people in the audience, there's going to be a certain amount of energy there and you'll be happy. But if you've got like 100,000 people there and your team scores a goal, the energy that happens is just on such a bigger level. And I don't know if people do know that they should know by now, because we're doing the giveaway January, that we are now giving away Supercharge Life at the end of January. So if you guys do want to come, simply go to superchargelifeuk.com. You can sign up for free, and you can come and get these teachings, that everything I've learned, I put my life's work into that stuff, because what we found is the trend in Christmas time, most people are eating too much of the wrong foods and they're not moving their bodies and they're sitting down. Then New Year comes and the product of decay goes in, alcohol consumption starts to happen, and they hit that sort of block where they're like, okay, it's January, new year, new me. And the first few weeks of January goes by and they kind of like sort of dip to how they were before, how they've been programmed. So January 30th and 31st is a perfect time for people to come and get that sort of boost, to get another kickstart, so that 2016 can really be the best year ever. And I've got no doubt.
Because I might well come along, because I've been meaning to do one of your events. Last time I tried to come, do you remember my car got broken into, and I'd left it on a street in London and it got smashed up, and it was like, how I attracted that. I mean, I was not in a good space, clearly. But I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready for Supercharge.
So it's January 30th and 31st, and it's at the Millennium Gloucester in London, central London. Beautiful hotel, and we were just in the ballroom there. And it's 2 days of radical transformation, because we're not just dumping stuff in people's minds. It's experiential.
Yeah.
And people come away from that event shifted. They get the shift mentally, they get the shift emotionally, they get the physical shift, they get this, it covers everything of what we are. And, you know, all I'm doing is doing what you're doing. Whatever I've learned, I'm sharing it with other people. So Rachel, I mean, I remember the first time we met, just to finish off, the conversations we're having now, the way we're connecting now is like, it's like long lost brother and sister. It really is so different. And I mean, from me, you know, I'm so proud of you. And it's so amazing to see you on your journey and to also see the people's lives that you're transforming. So please keep doing what you're doing. Really do. I love you to bits and look forward to seeing you at Supercharge Live.
Yeah, fab. Thanks so much, Skip.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.